This is Fred Beck from Fred Fighting. I'm joined by Papi's coach after Papi got stopped in the third round against Tony Ferguson. What do you reckon went wrong in that fight?
I don't know, man. I think Salt was doing okay for the first couple. Third round started well, and look, Tony was having his swing in the fight. He was swinging towards his favour, and it's a fight. And unfortunately, we didn't come out on top. I've got to give credit to Tony and his team. Tony's really tough. He took all the heavy shots from Salt early on, weathered the storm, and started to put his shots together. So it just didn't work out on the night, really.
Papi seemed relatively in control of the first first 2 rounds, and the switch happened kind of midway through the third round. Yeah. What was that switch?
Yeah, I think it was just a momentum change. Obviously I wanted Salt to use his jab a lot more, keep the distance long, because Tony was starting to just walk into range and start his attacks from there without Salt doing anything. He definitely didn't utilise his jab enough, and I think he knows that too. I wanted him to also jab and work his way to the right, stay side on the ropes. He got caught square. All the things we've been working on in camp, kind of like towards the end, they didn't come through. And it's easy enough for a lot of people to criticise it, but it's hard to execute it sometimes on the night when you've got someone like Tony Ferguson in front of you.
Was Salt seemed quite sort of held back, not timid, but more quiet in the press conference. Even KSI said to me in my interview about how he seemed a little bit more quiet. Did the kind of stage, did the occasion, almost as cringe as it might sound, the aura of Tony Ferguson, did that get to him a little bit?
I don't think so. I think Salt's very introverted anyway, and that's all it was. He's no aura stuff. Salt finds anyone, when they're fighting him, anyone is going to get nervous. Like Tony said to me after the fight, and I told Salt this, I said he's going to be so nervous for this because he's fighting someone that he's supposed to beat. Like, he's fought like proper athletes, and he said, he goes, I was so scared coming up, not scared, like nervous, coming up to this fight. I couldn't believe how nervous I was. So he'll have the nerves, but Salt's not really much of a talker, is he? And I think he was talking quite a lot in fight week on the interviews with yourself. Mm-hmm. I thought he was in a really good place mentally. So obviously that can change in the blink of an eye on fight night. And I think he was a little bit, introverted on the press conference. That's about it. Right. Maybe he was like, oh my God, it's Tony Ferguson. But rightfully so, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to give the man his credit indeed. What do you reckon at what stage in the fight did Salt break his hand?
I've watched it back. I actually think it was the first left hook he threw.
Does Salt not know? Does he not remember from the pain? Or was it only after his hand was really hurting?
He told me at the end of the first round that he hurt his hand because I was telling him to go on 2-phase attacks, and he said, I've hurt my thumb. I just ignored it because I'm not going to acknowledge that because it's going to put a negative mindset into him straight away. I just said, look, keep letting the shots go, keep resetting and setting the left hand, because I feel like Tony was there for the second phase attacks. When I've watched it back, and a couple of people from the team have, we feel like it was the first left hook he threw because he came around the sides and he kind of caught him with the thumb. But the thing is, Salt was still throwing heavy shots after that. So you got to think, this kid's got, you got to give credit to Salt for that. He's a tough guy. He must have thrown about 30 more at least in the next 2 rounds, do you reckon? Mm-hmm. So, he hurt it early in the first, definitely. And whether that had an impact on the fight and stuff, that's not my place to say. That is part of the fight game. You can break your hand. You can do a lot of, can get cut like Salt did in 2 fights prior to this one. It's part of the fight game, and it happened to him, and he didn't make any excuses about it, and he won't make any excuses about it.
What were your thoughts on the stoppage in the third round?
I think it was premature, and that's no fault of Tony's. He was having his moment. I think it was early. A few seconds more might have made more sense if he didn't reply for another few. Like, what are you doing standing there? But I think he was just starting to shoe shine there, and when I spoke to Salt as well, he goes, I'm just about to set some shots on. Because he had his hands up and it was glancing off. None of the last 6 shots landed, did they? And there was like pitter-patter shots. So it was early because when we go through the way the fight was going, like Salt was winning the fight, got to give him a chance. And, also the way Salt is, he's always like get knocked out or knockout. So give him that, you know what I mean? Let him get knocked out, I guess.
Yeah, it seems strange for 2 experienced fighters in a co-main event of a pay-per-view to have an early stoppage. The fear of it going on, being stopped too late, is more of a fear than having an early stoppage.
That's honestly the main thing. And at the end of the day, I got annoyed at the beginning, but I was annoyed for about 10 seconds because I'm not going to be a sore loser. I've got to respect Tony and his team, and I did. We didn't say it once to them, and we will continue not to. And look, it is what it is. That's not in our control, and Salt shouldn't have been in those positions anyway. So he found himself in that position. And I don't want to sound salty saying, oh, yeah, it shouldn't have been stopped. That's my opinion, alongside a lot of people's. But a lot of other people said it should have. So the referee was alongside them people. And that was his choice. And I'm not the referee, so I'm not in control of the fight. He's made his decision. Guess what? We can't go back on it. So Salt lost because of that. But Tony was having his swing. There was a pendulum chain coming. I think it would have opened up into a crazy old fight after that. But I guess we'll never know. Or will we?
If you do a rematch.
With a rematch, of course, Salt would love to have a rematch.
You spoken to him about that?
100%. I don't need to speak to him about it. I know what he's about. He'll 100% love a rematch.
I know you spoke to Tony and his team after the fight. Was that mentioned at all?
Yeah. I think I don't think no rematch stuff was mentioned because, to be honest, everyone's very respectful between the two teams, and it was a very wholesome moment. Like Tony, I'm going to be honest with you. I can see why he's gone through a lot of bad things in his life, and people said, "Oh my God, he's crazy." But really and truly, he's just a nice bloke, and nice people get taken advantage of a lot. And I could see that after the fight. He is a really, really got heart bigger than this world. Really nice bloke. So no, we didn't say anything like that. It's been brought up a couple of times, and to be honest, it's going to have to make sense for both sides, isn't it? For us, of course, we'd love a rematch and try and put things right. It's not an easy fight, as we could see. Tony's still got. He's a great fight, and he's only going to get better in his next fight. Mm-hmm. That was his first boxing camp, but we'd love it because Salt wants the rematches with Slim and Anthony as well. And the one that makes more sense out of the three would be Tony, because apparently there's a bit of controversy to it with the early stoppage. But if not, we can go our separate ways. And I've always wished Tony the best of luck in his future endeavours in Misfits. I think he's brilliant to have in Misfits, and his team are really, really easy to work with as well.
How does Tony Ferguson versus Gibb go?
Oh, that's a good fight, isn't it? It's really good. It's hard to say because you don't know what Tony's going to come out with like in the next fight. Is he going to improve more? He looks durable, doesn't he? Because Salt detonates those left on a lot of people and they fold up. He did rock him, but I saw him land one, and I could see his eyes go, and he was back like 1 second, straight back in the room. And you're like, okay, this guy's got a good chin. And, Gibb is a very good fighter. He listens to his coaches very well, listens to his advice. He's got a great gas tank. Do you reckon he could gas out Tony Ferguson, though?
Well, Tony, his training of David Goggins would say otherwise.
I know. But the thing is, I think that's what everyone kind of like thought he was going to do against Slim in the 8-round fight. But I think he actually outboxed him as well.
Gibb outboxed Slim, yes.
Yeah. So I don't even think it really mattered about gas tanking it. So he actually surprised me in that fight because he was doing things, and I could tell this guy is just on autopilot from what his coaches are telling him. He was literally performing the game plan just how they would, throwing certain shots. They looked awkward, but they was landing. So one thing about Gibb, he's going to go out and do 100% the game plan. If the game plan's good enough and he's better than the fight, he's going to win. Mm-hmm. And it'd be a good fight. I think I'd love to see it because they're both kind of similar in ways, ain't they? Both of their main attributes are that they are very, very well conditioned guys, and they're going to be conditioned for the whole round. Like, for example, I think Tony the other night, he would have probably got tired in round 16 or something. He won't get tired anytime soon. So you've got to commend both of them. That I don't even know. I'm not even sitting on the fence. I don't know who would win that fight. I think it's a good fight.
Yes, pick him, 50-50.
Because it's just because of the durability of Tony. He's going to be there. But then Gibb's strong, and he's unorthodox, awkward as hell.
And what weight was this fight at? 165, 175?
Our fight was at 170. Obviously, both of them came in under the 168, so 167 Tone. So they both can make 165 more than easily. Both of them can make 165 no problem. So I think Gibb fights at that one. He's got
65, yeah.
But he fights at a little premium weight, doesn't he?
Gibb fights at 165.
But what did he weigh in against Slim? It was like 167. They said we want that because it's perfect for us, and they got it. I remember in the negotiation. So he's got a certain weight. Tony's was fighting at 155 as a professional UFC fighter. I think he obviously walked around probably a lot heavier. So yeah, I'd look forward to it. I think if we don't get a rematch, I think that's the fight to make, and I think it'd be a blockbuster, won't it? Gibb, the one that's undefeated in how many fights now?
He's had a few. I'm not off the top of my head. Well, he hasn't lost since 2020 against Jake Paul.
He's done great, man.
It's been a while.
I respect him because you know what, he works hard and he gets everything he deserves to. It'll be a great fight. Yeah.
Certainly. Well, I can't wait to watch it when it happens. I'm speaking to Liam Chivers, his manager, tomorrow, so we'll see what's going on there. Misfits haven't spoken to Gibb about making that fight happen, but eventually they will. One more thing I do want to touch on is a little bit of controversy before the fight, backstage. It was a glove situation.
Yeah, to be honest, obviously I didn't know Tony's team very well, and last minute we got told that he would be using grants. They weren't at the glove check, so I refused, and then the fight wasn't going to go on. I was going to stand on it because in previous times there's been dodgy things going on with gloves. You know, I'm not going to name any people, and I wasn't going to have that happen to my fighter. I was very clear to the Misfits team, who are brilliant with us, and have given my guys food on their table and myself, so I don't want to disrespect someone that does that. And I was like, guys, it's nothing to do with you lot. I just have to protect Salt. And it was actually quite nice because Abs came over and he was like, Coach, the coach wants to speak to you. And I was like, Abs, I'm not talking to no one. I love you, but I don't want to disrespect you, but I'm not speaking to anyone. He was like, bro, please, like, he's not going to do anything like that. And I was like, you're really peeing me off, but okay, come on. And then his coach, Rashad, we went in a separate room, sat down. We spoke to each other about our, you know, he was a really nice bloke, spoke about our lives and our upbringings. And he was like, these are the gloves that we've got, coach. They're all free in front of you. They're all packaged. You can see them, right? And I could see that they hadn't been tampered with. And to be honest, there was more foam. There was no hair in them, horsehair. And I was like, he was like, but you don't have to choose them. We can work our way around it. And straight away I said, nah, we'll just go to house gloves, right? And then I went back. He was like, no problem. We'll go to house gloves. Accepted it, which I thought was really respectful, which I could tell that he weren't trying to do anything funny. He said that he weren't told that he had to give the gloves in. And I believe him totally. And I went back and spoke to Salt, and I was like, look, Salt, their gloves are like not the ones that we would normally wear anyway, because we like these style. Do you want to have a look at them and to see? So we brought them in. Salt had a look at them, and he goes, yeah, man, you guys can fight with them. So in the end, the fight went on. Tony got to wear what he wanted to wear. Salt got to wear what he wanted to wear. A little bit funny, but it could have gone other ways. The only reason I feel like it didn't go the other way is because his team were really, really easy to work with, man. Like, if it was going the other way and there was, like, trying to do some dodgy stuff, I don't think I would have. So, like, you know, Rashad, Coach Hoss, the young man, I don't know his name, he was with them, lovely people alongside Tony. So it shows why Tony's the man he is.
So it's more of a Wasserman issue then, not telling them to bring their gloves in.
I don't know. I think it was more of a communication issue. Maybe Rashad didn't hear what they said, or maybe, you know, it's their first time on the platform. And I believe I was told that they were sanctioned anyway. They don't, I don't want to quote this wrong, they don't have to be at the glove check as long as they're sanctioned. So I think it would have been all right anyway. I was just being a bit hard to work with, but it's understandable, right? Because Salt's my fighter and I care about him. So I don't know whose issue it was. I think.
Well, if you agree to something and then last minute you throw a screw in the mix, then you've got to go back to the original agreement. So correct. I sort of stand by that.
And you know what it is? It's mind games. I don't want them to get a number on me, innit? Right. Like, you're not getting that on me. So he already turned up late to the arena, so I was like, ah.
Yeah, do you know why he's turned up so late?
No, do you? I think he just, apparently he tends to do that in general. Like, that's just him, isn't it? Salt likes to be everywhere super early anyway and get wrapped up super early. Like, he's just OCD on that. I guess Tony's the opposite.
Yeah, that's how it is. All right, well, Solomon, thank you very much for your time as always, and I'll see you in a few weeks.
For sure.